Not knowing what type of content to make. That question right there, my friend, might be the most important question us creators should ask ourselves. Not knowing the answer to that question put me on the wrong path. I started to chase brands like DJI and Apple, hoping that they would notice me and eventually then sponsor me. I realized the content I was making wasn't necessarily coming from my heart. I was trapped in this game of competition to get the attention of these brands, and that's never a good thing. Doing something just to get someone's attention is not authentic, not satisfying, and definitely not sustainable. But unfortunately, that's how the first 2 years of my YouTube career was like. I ended up losing sight of my goal, my passion, and eventually, my happiness. So after trying so many different approaches, and literally, I would tell you, failing in each and every one of them, it finally clicked. Something happened that opened my eyes and showed me my path. And by path, I mean what kind of content to make. I realized I don't need to chase these brands. I don't need to impress them or anyone else. I just need to be myself, express my vision, say what's in my heart, and connect with my audience. And that is when everything changed. Let's go get some coffee. Dankeschön. So if you're ready to hear my story, then keep watching because I'm going to reveal to you the secret of creating the type of content that's going to make these brands chase after you. I want to start taking you back to September 2021 when I first started to create some content when the iPhone 13 Pro was launched. At the time, I had 500 subscribers and I believe my videos barely reached like 1,000 views. And the reason I wanted to create content with the iPhone 13 Pro was because Apple had just launched the cinematic mode for the first time and there was a huge buzz and people wanted to hear about it. And I always considered myself a cinematic junkie, so I was like, hey, let me jump on this wagon. So I went ahead and created a series of videos talking about my experience and explaining how users can benefit from the cinematic mode on the iPhone 13 Pro. And guess what? That was the first time my channel finally got some attention, which is literally the most exciting thing that could happen to a rookie YouTuber. These 3-4 videos made a combination of 500k views and I gained over 1,000 subscribers in 1 month. At the time, that was amazing. However, now that I think about it, 1,000 subscribers from these many views, I kind of feel like I got ripped off, to be honest with you, which is a really important point and I want to talk about it later in this video. So let's get back to what I was telling you. That is exactly when the idea of chasing brand was born. You know, I felt the spark of wanting to get the attention of Apple after creating these videos. I was like, if I keep doing what I'm doing, I'm going to eventually get the attention of Apple and they will send me some phones and sponsor me, and the whole idea just sounds so awesome, doesn't it? So I thought I had found a new path in my YouTube journey, so I started to see what other successful creators who were creating similar content for iPhone cameras were doing, and I was like, let me try my own version of that. Let me pause you there for a second. Not that there's anything wrong with this method. Alongside this road and this path, I learned so much creating these videos. I mean, these videos were great, they were getting views, there's a reason that they were getting views. But the problem was, it got me a little excited and it put me on a path that I didn't necessarily want to be on. And I'll get to my point eventually in this video, I promise. So after the buzz I got from the attention of the iPhone 13 Pro, I was like, this is it, man. I wasn't necessarily expecting Apple to reach out right away, but I like the thought of thinking that they saw these videos and they gave me hope. And even at that time, I knew I was only one of the million creators who were doing almost the same thing. I was just a drop in the ocean, but I had gotten some views. I was happy and excited to continue on this journey. Right after the iPhone 13 Pro period, I believe DJI put out the DJI Mavic 3, which I think it was around November 2021, if I'm not mistaken. And I had seen some creators create some cinematic drone footage with the previous drones of DJI, and I was like, hey man, I'm a fan of DJI since the Phantom 3, and when it came to cinematic drone footage, I believe I had my own voice and I wanted to say something. So I bought the Mavic 3, which cost me almost 3,000 euros with the money that I certainly didn't have. And I wanted to do something different, something that would stand out. So I spent about 2 months of my time acquiring permits to fly in a metropolitan city. After failing several times with several big cities like Paris, I finally got a permit to fly in Rome. And I went to Rome and I dealt with the Italian police, the military, and Carbonari for 5 days straight. And those who've been in Italy know exactly what I'm talking about. And I created the best video I thought at the time I could create. I gave it my all. And I came back home. I just kept waiting and waited for that call from DJI. So a couple of months go by and still no call from DJI. Man, I was frustrated. Every day, I wanted to scream from the back of my lungs, DJI! So week by week, I'm checking these views. I'm expecting this video to skyrocket, but all I get is 40,000 views. So I was coming from having my channel having a lot of attention from the iPhone 13 Pro videos, and I was kind of expecting the same thing with the Mavic 3, because this is my genre, and I'm the drone guy, remember? I spent about 3 months of my time and $4,000 on this project, and I got like 40K views. And to be blunt, that's a straight up failure if you think about it. But it's from these failures that we learn. And at the time, I felt pretty shitty, but I wasn't ready to give up. Let's talk about this video as a sponsor, Luminar Neo. With AI tech evolving at lightning speed, Luminar Neo is right there leading the charge. Now recently they've rolled out some sweet feature that'll help you edit your photos way faster and smoother. But here's a twist. I'm gonna show you how you can rock these features in your videos.
Let's have a look at Gen Erase first.
You know, sometimes we're recording, we're forced to have somebody either point a light at us or reflect something, and they have to be in the shot. And with the Gen Erase feature, I can easily replace Rafa and still keep talking to you with no hassle.
And the workflow is super simple. Import your picture, select your object, and hit erase. And that's pretty much it. Bring it into your editing software, put it over top of the layer, and in DaVinci Resolve, I simply remove the left side of the image.
Another thing we could do, we could expand this scene, and I can still be talking to you with the push of a button that takes maybe 5 seconds.
You don't necessarily need to write anything here, but I'm just gonna write nature and hit expand. And it does a great job in my opinion.
I can also swap Rafa with a potato if I wanted to. Just like that.
Use my link in the description to get 10% off of all of their plans.
So it was around May, and DJI was about to release the new drone called the DJI Mini 3 Pro. So I pretty much did the same thing. I bought it. This time I flew to Istanbul, and I created some of the best drone footage coming out of the DJI Mini 3 Pro. Not according to me, according to your comments. I would never claim such thing. This time, I got over 150,000 views, and the comments were amazing. And people were telling me they were buying the DJI Mini 3 Pro after seeing that video. And I was like, yes, finally, this is it. DJI will notice me now. They'll call me, they want to work with me, and I was almost sure about it.
So I asked myself, how many more of these heartbreaks could I go through?
This is iPhone 14 Pro.
Now, if you're doing this full time, you know how tough it is to make ends meet if you've done this before, and tough would be putting it mildly, to be honest with you. And you know, you have to deal with the constant pressure of coming up with money, paying for bills, coming up with money to invest in new gear, which is literally never ending. And on top of this all, you have to somehow find the energy and enthusiasm to stay creative.
I'll be brief about this part. I made a documentary about a fighter with the iPhone 14 Pro, and I simply didn't get the results I wanted on YouTube. Now let's have a look at my timeline. At the beginning of 2023, I had about 10k subscribers who liked my smartphone and drone videos. But I didn't want to be a smartphone filmmaker. I wanted to be more. But there were no gadgets for 9 months, and I had no idea what content to make. I tried different things, but they all failed. I was losing views and rankings, and I was frustrated and I was scared. To be honest with you, I really thought I was done with YouTube. And then DJI released the Air 3. I made the unboxing video. It ranked 1 out of 10 and it got 3k views in one day. I felt alive again. So I decided to make more content with it. I rented an RV with my boys and we hit the Dolomites. I made a cinematic video in the hope of getting DJI's attention again. Don't get me wrong, that trip was amazing, but it only got 15k views. It was not enough. I felt that video was not special. I felt I was not special. I felt like I failed the game.
So just a couple of weeks after I had uploaded the DJI Air 3, DJI was coming to IFA Berlin, which is like a tech fair. And I was like, this is a great opportunity for me to go meet these guys in person and get the recognition that I deserve. So I drove to Berlin and I made an appointment with the person in charge of reaching out to the influencers. I met with them, they were super friendly and they made me feel at home at their booth. And according to them, they knew who I was and they'd seen my videos and they liked it pretty much. So I'm sitting there taking it all in and everything she said kind of sounded like music to my ears. And I was sitting there, I was like, is this it? Like, this is finally happening after 2 years of chasing this brand that I love so much. And she didn't necessarily say that we're gonna collaborate, but she definitely gave me good vibes leaving that meeting. They gave me a bag of gifts and they said goodbye with a hope of reaching out to me soon.
Well, I waited a month and I heard nothing back until the DJI 4 came out and I still didn't get a call. You know what they say, right? Nothing bad ever happens to us in life. Whenever things don't go our way, there's always a silver lining.
And I truly believe that. But at the time, I was really angry. So after that trip, I felt a little bit like a fool, I'm not gonna lie. Because I went to that trip, I met those guys, and what did I get? A water bottle from DJI. And I'm not gonna lie, milk does taste better in this water bottle, you should try it. But to be serious, you know, that was the first time that I actually realized that, man, I need to stop chasing these brands. I believe that trip, you know, at the time didn't feel good, but when I got back and I thought about it, that trip might have been one of the most important trips of my life because it was such an eye-opening moment for me.
So I had a talk with myself, and I weighted all the work that I had done in the last 2 years on one side. And don't get me wrong, I learned more about creating in these 2 years than I did in my 13 years of freelance work. And on the other side, I put the treatment I got from these brands these past couple of years. And I realized my work was all about getting their attention, and the best that I got was a nice to meet you and here's a free water bottle. And man, with all due respect, I'm not a 23-year-old YouTuber. I just turned 40. So I went back to my cave and I turned the engines on again. And I wanted to start something new, because that's the only thing I know. And that's the only thing I will do for the rest of my life.
Why you letting down everyone around you? Now something's gotta change, something's gotta change. You know better than the life you're wasting.
It's funny how God aligns things sometimes. I decided to try something new, and this time I had no intention of grabbing the attention of any brand. I made a video, and this video came from here, and I spoke it out. I've been watching some videos from a fellow creator called Life of Riza, and she inspired the hell out of me. And I wanted to just come out and say why. Why is she so successful? And why is she able to inspire people the way she does? So I decided to create a video that was honest, authentic, and my personal view on her channel. So I went ahead and made that video, and it was all filmed in my neighborhood and in my home studio, and I did not even spend a penny creating this video. And guess what? This video got over 10,000 views a day after just a couple of weeks after its upload. And the comments, man, it's the comments that made all those 2 years of hard work, especially in 2023, which was the toughest, worth it. Man, your comments made all the pain go away. This meant everything to me. This meant a new beginning. I felt like I had finally found my outlet. And it doesn't cost me my savings. And I started to gain subscribers from new demographics. I realized when you talk from your heart, you end up inspiring people in life. They tend to want to subscribe to you. A lot more than somebody who is just showing you another new gadget. Alright, so how do I wrap this up? You might say, Sean, there's a ton of creators that went through this path and they were successful and they were able to get the attention of these brands. And I say, hey, I don't claim to be the most talented creative out there. There will always be more talented creators out there, and I'm okay with that. But all I know is when it came to this, I gave it my all, man. I went above and beyond to make this work, I promise you. Listen, I made this video to share my 2 years of YouTube experience with you, and I'm not completely ruling out this chasing brands method because it worked for a lot of people. Now, you might be thinking, Sean, if this had worked for you, you probably wouldn't be making this video right now. And it didn't. And I am making this video right now, and you've watched it until now. And I wouldn't change that for the world, to be honest with you, because this whole path changed my mindset. And I like my mindset that I have right now. You see what I'm saying? Remember I told you I got 500,000 views on the iPhone 13 Pro videos and only 1,000 people subscribed? Well, when I made the Carissa effect video, this video got 200,000 views in 2 months and 10,000 people subscribed because of that video. Now, why do you think that is? I think it's because that video came from here. I shared my experiences, my thoughts on this specific topic. And when it comes from here, it's original. This means that there isn't one like it out there. That is very important. So I say if you're at the beginning of your YouTube journey, I say just keep creating and don't care about failing at all because you're learning so much that you can't put a price on that. So if you're 40 years old like me, I say father time is a mofo. Maybe you don't want to go out there and spend 2 years chasing these brands. So I say trying to stick to why you started a YouTube channel to begin with and share your experiences and say it from here. And last but not least, don't let it be a brand that defines you as a creator.
You know I'm just playing DJ. You know I love you.